Sporting Journal Radio, presented by OnX.
All right, it's getting to be that time of year, man. I mean, I've had a good time this summer doing some fishing in some pretty cool places from Florida to Saskatchewan and even around home here in Minnesota too. But I love fall. It's my favorite time of the year, and it's time to start thinking about it just a little bit since you can hunt early geese in North Dakota here pretty quick. And Saskatchewan, of course, we're going to be heading up there at the beginning of September. And you got everything kicking off. Doves on September 1st and everything like that. So it's time to start talking about hunting. And Ben Brettingen from OnX is going to join us right now to get you prepared for the hunting season out there. But Ben, let's just one real quick thing. Have you been doing any fishing, or has it been all dog training this summer for you?
I've been doing a little bit of fishing. We got up to Lake of the Woods. Been kind of fishing in the Walker area a little bit, Leech, etc. But now it's after keeps creeping back every year. But now about after the 4th of July, I'm done with it. It's getting dogs ready. It's getting ready to hunt. So there's just so much to do. Well, I'm fired up.
Yeah, I mean, it gives a whole new meaning to dog days of summer, right? Like fishing can get tough when you get into late July and August, and it's nice to just start working the dogs. I'm trying to get my dogs back into shape a little bit, and over the after the off season, and get them ready for the hunting season. And are you going to take part in any August hunting? Maybe chase some upland birds around somewhere else in a different place, or do some early Canada Goose or anything like that?
Yeah, so I've got actually I'll be out in Montana for doing some work stuff here for the next week or so, and then I get back for a few days, and I'm headed out kind of like the last week of August, back out to Montana to go get ready for Sharpie and hunt season. So I'll be out there running the dogs, kind of getting them in shape, letting them know what they're supposed to do again, and then we'll kick it off September 1 and bring the shotguns out.
So if you're going to start an outdoor company these days, do you have to headquarter it in Bozeman, or is it, I mean, like, I feel like, I always thought Minnesota is a pretty good outdoor state, and I know we're not, not the biggest one out there or anything like that, but I feel like everybody's in Montana now.
Man, it is, so we actually do have an office in Bozeman, but we're out of Missoula, technically, so, yeah, I mean, that's where all the hipsters go. You want to chew on bark and work for an outdoor company, that's where you gotta go. So,
well, and I don't
blame Minnesota, so
yeah, and I don't blame. I mean, Montana is an incredible state for the outdoors, like for hunting and fishing, for that matter. Like I don't blame people for going. It's cool. There's mountains and all that good stuff too. So I don't blame people for going out there, and it's nice to go there for work, Ben.
Yeah, it is. It's great to take a break, go to the mountains, but no place like Minnesota. I still say it. I could do eastern Montana, but to be honest, the mountains, you got to drive too far to go hunt anything. I mean, you can hunt some things, but
dude, I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, people are always like, "Oh, it's the mountains. It's beautiful. It's this and that." I'm like, yeah, it's great to look at. I don't want to drive through them in the winter. I don't really want to walk up one to hunt. Maybe if I'm elk hunting or something, but like, I love the prairie. I love being able to see a long ways. And, when I always joke about grouse hunting, like ruffed grouse hunting. Ruffed grouse, Mika's moving the cam. Mika's our new cameraman, apparently, adjusting the camera over here.
Get her the steady cam.
Yeah, that's right. I always joke about ruffed grouse hunting versus pheasant hunting. And, Dan and I have had this argument about living in the prairie versus living in the woods of northern Minnesota. And it's like, but when I flush a bird, I like to see it. I like to be able to see it and maybe have a second shot at it. Or especially early season grouse hunting, it's a lot of times, I heard one.
Yeah, when you start counting birds you heard and not even have seen, yeah.
Ruffed grouse hunting is like muskie fishing, right? Like, we raised 6 fish today. We flushed 6 grouse today. We didn't see them, we didn't catch them, but it was a good day. It was a good day.
That is a good point. There's definitely a parallel there. It's like you got your flush counter. Nobody asks like, how many birds did you shoot? It's how many you flushed today. So
yeah. And I want to say something. This isn't a knock on upland hunters or ruffed grouse hunters, but I feel like sometimes ruffed grouse hunters are more happy when they don't shoot one, when when they just hear them or see them, but don't shoot one.
Yeah, my great excuse is like if I don't shoot one, it's like, oh, that was some great dog work there, right? Oh man, to do it for the dogs.
It's like sunset pictures.
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's
That's cool.
great.
So you're gonna go out to Montana. What are you gonna hunt? What are you gonna hunt out there?
Primarily sharp-tailed grouse and huns. So sharpies and huns. It should be all in North Dakota, Montana. Great moisture this spring. The cover should be there. Grasshoppers are in full force right now, so there's ample food for them. I've got high hopes. Last year was still good, and we had kind of record drought, so I'm always optimistic, but this year should be a really good one. So
It's hard not to be optimistic when you enjoy something so much, right? I mean, like even in years of bad hatches, you still look forward to it and still power through it, even though it can be tough sometimes because you just enjoy it. And you know what? Honestly, you joke about, oh, it's great dog work. That is what it is. I mean, that's what makes it so much fun a lot of times is just getting out there and hunting. And one of the reasons I like pheasant hunting so much or Sharpie or anything like that is I'm walking into places that the majority of people on the planet have probably never walked into, or watching the dog work a thicket back on the backside of a piece or on a huge public land piece where you just know it's just wild country, right? Like you're getting out into some cool places and you're doing it with your buddies and your favorite four-legged friends. And it's always great. It's always great pulling the trigger, but it's fun nonetheless.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've been chasing after birds with a dang cap gun here for the last, few months and all the spring, so I get it. But yeah, I mean, like to go out on the prairies of Montana or wherever, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, doing whatever, it's fun with especially like Sharpies, sage grouse, prairie chickens, is like when you're walking that landscape to think that they've been out there for thousands of years already. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I know getting ready for that, especially if you're going to take a trip somewhere, OnX is real helpful. And when Corey Loeffler and I went and did a turkey trip this spring, we went down to Missouri and Kansas and Nebraska, and we went into Nebraska completely blind. Didn't really know where we were going, didn't really have any tips from anybody. We just literally pulled up OnX and looked for big chunks of woods, mostly in public land, big chunks of public land, things like that. Obviously, we knocked on some doors, so we used some ownership names. But Corey turned on the tree species identification, and that really helped us kind of narrow down some of those big, patches of trees where we would find turkeys. That's kind of it. When you think about that, okay, OnX has this tree identification tool. That's pretty cool. And then when you put it into practice, it's like, holy smokes! Like this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of bringing all those things together, right? You've got your satellite maps, land ownership, you've got your tree data, and then you bring in crop data as well, and it's everything. You throw that all together, and I mean, you're just super deadly, right? Like you've got everything you need to hunt whatever species wherever you want to go. It's just a matter of kind of putting all those pieces together and going and doing it. So, with the internet nowadays, you can kind of learn just about anything, and you throw OnX on top of that. And I mean, I feel confident going and doing whatever. So
hey, whose waypoints are you showing on the screen right there, Dan? Those better not be my way. We get those off of there. Just showing everybody our screens.
They're all mine, but if you can find them, you can have them, I guess. Screenshot that. Good luck.
That's funny. And for guys going out to North Dakota right now, having that crop layer tool, that crop identification, I mean, that's kind of invaluable. Between that and the e-posting, being able to look on OnX and see who's got stuff e-posted, I guarantee you just about everybody going into North Dakota here for the early Canada Goose season is going to be using that stuff.
Yeah, you got to have it. And we just updated it. I think it's been updated for 2022 now. And if you be sure to look at it again this year because it is pretty drastically different year over year. There's a significantly more electronically posted land. So, I mean, you zoom into any of the areas, it'd be interesting to look at it year over year because, it's people have started to hear about it, and they've added significantly more, which is kind of nice because then you kind of know what know what you've got going into it. So, but definitely a layer you're going to want to use.
And obviously you're going to be looking for wheat fields, or even like oat field or hay field or something like that. But everything is going to be a little late this year, I think. So if guys are going over to North Dakota, I'd be looking for water probably first on OnX, and then looking for some of those crop fields around there. But it's hard to say. I mean, if you're further south in the state, I think some of that stuff will be coming off. But if you're going to be in the northern part of North Dakota, there might be a lot of crops still standing when you get over there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of what I like to do starting out, is just find big main bodies of water that you're going to have roosting areas on, and then you can flip on that crop data layer. You go into layer settings, and then you can go and select wheat. So it's that U.S. crop distribution folder. Go into layer settings, and you can go flip on like wheat, for example. And why I like to do that is because then you at least know what areas of the state they're planting wheat more heavily.
Sure.
A lot of those areas down south, especially with the price of corn and beans right now.
Not a lot of wheat.
There's not a lot of wheat. So it just kind of gives you a better understanding of where that wheat's going to be. If you want to go hunt them in the field, you might look at a different part of the state that has water in it as well. So just using that to kind of piece together where you want to scout. So
that's a good point. Especially down where we're at here, down in that kind of that central / southern part of Minnesota and the western part of the state, there's no wheat really around us. Mm-hmm. So the further south you go, there's going to be less and less wheat. And the further north you go, you're going to find more wheat, but there's going to be less harvest taking place. So it could be a struggle for some of those guys over there this year.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what I've found for with an early August opener is that either you're going to find those fields that have feeds of anywhere from, a family group, 10, 15 birds. But if you put in the time, like we have found some great opening day spots that have, 600-800 birds in them even. So it's just a matter of putting on the miles in early season and just finding that right spot. So, but in saying that, a lot of years we've hunted early season feeds that have been 100 150 birds and done well on
Smashed.
it. So
yeah, that scouting and the putting the windshield time in is the name of the game, no matter what, for a lot of things, but particularly for waterfowl. And we had one hunt, the four of us in early season in North Dakota, where we shot, it was a 15 bird per guy limit, and we shot our 60 birds, and it was madness. Like, it was unreal. 4 guys shooting 60 geese. It was insane. That feed was probably about 400 birds. But I know in the lean years, there's been times where we have just struggled, and we'll see, 25 birds out there, and we'll all look at each other like,
Yeah, right.
Is this going to be worth it? I mean, they could come in 2 groups, and if it's you got enough guns going off, you're going to put up a stack. But do we sleep in tomorrow, or do we try to set up on 25 geese? And that's early season goose hunting.
Yeah, I think it was, probably the best example of that is, I think it was fall of 2012, and I think I put on. Just myself, I think I put on 17 or 1,800 miles the week before the season. And I think there were 3 of us doing that. And I think that it was the last day before opener, and we found a field where we shot I think it was a 10-man limit. I can't remember if it was 15 birds or 10 birds at the time. But, early season, the name of the game is just get in the right area and, unfortunately, spend $4 gas.
Yeah, lots of gas, some bug spray probably, or thermocells. I know last time we did it, we spent one afternoon just swimming. We went to a nearby lake and swam because it was like 90 degrees. But it can be a lot of fun, and it's that first crack at waterfowl season. But it can be tough. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like you were saying earlier, loafing ponds, like if you can find good cattle pond areas. Again, I'm not advocating for shooting roosts at all.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But if you can find a good midday loafing spot, those are always just some fun hunts, watching them suck into water.
Oh, what? I know I don't want to bust roost either, but man, shooting geese over water, it's fun and sometimes very easy. So,
yeah. Wow.
But
I've tried it a few times, and the nice thing about in the evening, when you get real desperate, I've tried like at the end of the season, and the nice thing is they come in generally after sunset, so you don't have to worry about shooting too many of them.
Yeah.
But so I've been there, done that, but I'm not advocating for it.
Of course not. Yeah, you bet. Well, what else is new with OnX? What's going on right now?
We're just in the thick of it, man. Just getting ready, getting everything rolling for the season here. We've got a few new cool things. Kind of one of the things I'm most excited for. If you look under the Minnesota folder, we've added a bunch of new timber harvest data for you grouse hunters.
Nice.
So that spans county land, state land, et cetera. So it's not just strictly on like Forest Service or federal land anymore. And that's going to be a wicked tool. It's labeled in terms of what year it was harvested. I think it's called forest disturbance. So that one's going to be really sweet. Super looking forward to using that one.
So that's a layer that you can put on, and particularly for northern Minnesota hunters, I'd assume. That's going to show you some areas that have been logged.
Yeah. So if you go scrolling, pretty much anywhere there's public up north, there's going to be a significantly more timber harvest. So that tan land is county land. I would assume you're going to find some, if you keep scrolling and further, just pick a piece of property and you'll start to see it. They'll pop up here. So they're labeled in terms of what year they were harvested. So you've just got a lot of ammo. They're kind of a tan outlined, and you zoom in and it'll tell you what year it was harvested. So that just helps you pinpoint exactly with these giant tracts of public land where exactly to find birds. So that's something that I used last year, and it was pretty good. So I'm excited for everyone else to have a crack at using it as well.
Yeah, and that's something I had a discussion with some other people off the air today, as a matter of fact, about disturbance and logging and the timber industry and what that does for wildlife. Like, obviously, guys like us and probably most people watching this right now probably understand the benefits of some disturbance in the forest, like logging, and what that can do for wildlife out there. But there's so many people that don't understand how taking some trees out, taking some of that old growth out and letting some new growth come in, how beneficial that is, not just for the health of the forest, but for the health of the wildlife that's in there as well.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, old growth forests, honestly, they don't support that much wildlife. When you look at, more of an early successional piece is going to have a lot more biodiversity. And again, you got to have that successional driver, right? Whether it's logging, we've done a damn good job of fire suppression, unfortunately. So that historically was a great successional driver. And, we just, what it is, but people hate fire.
Yeah.
So logging is a great tool we have to help regenerate those forests.
Well, it's interesting. We were up in Saskatchewan, and in the last couple of years up there, lots and lots of wildfires around where we've been, and we had to fly around a couple of them, it's pretty wild being in a float plane and going, we just got to fly around this wildfire, no big deal, and it never is. We're just going around them, but seeing it from the air is a pretty wicked experience. But most of the time up there, they let them burn out as long as there's no people or structures or something important to save. They'll just let them burn out because it is just generating regrowth there in the forest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, it's a very important tool for all sorts of different wildlife, whether it's elk out west or birds, deer, everything in here. So, yeah. Another cool thing we've got coming out. You were talking about Canada, so we have added Canadian maps. We've got public land. We don't have private land ownership data. the Mounties are a little bit of a stickler. But we've got all the crown land up there, so
interesting.
Kind of just getting starting to get dialed a little bit on Canada. So if you're planning on going up there, you can see all that public land this year. So that's exciting.
Yeah, we'll check that out. We're heading up there here for a few weeks, so we'll definitely give her a heck up there. And there's so much crown land up in Canada. Actually, it's kind of amazing how much public land they have up there, and just how it's a little bit different than the way it works in the United States. But it'll be interesting to know what is what when we go up there. All right, Ben. Well, if people want to get themselves an OnX membership or maybe upgrade their membership, what should they do?
Go head over to onxmaps.com or onxhunt.com, and you can check out Premium is single state, Elite is all 50 states, plus there is an absolute slew of benefits you get by being an Elite member, discounts on a lot of great brands, early access to a lot of great brands, as well as you get access to things like Top Rut, Hunt and Fool, Deer Cast. So a lot of bang for your $100 for that membership.
Yeah, a lot of tools, not just your all the things that OnX can benefit you for, but a lot of other tools as well to make you more successful this fall. Ben Brettingen, thanks for the time today on the show. Good luck in Montana.
All right. Good luck up in the Northland. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, man.
Hear more at sportingjournalradio.com or wherever you get podcasts. 852 million acres of public land, 147 million private properties, all in the palm of your hand. The #1 hunting GPS app just got better. With hundreds of custom map layers, 3D and topographic maps, you can easily scout on the road or at home before you go. And now you can get important weather details, CWD detection, and even know what crops have been planted where. Get the most trusted hunting GPS app ever made. OnX. Know where you stand with OnX.